폴스타와 코닉세그는 모두 스웨덴에 본사를 두고 있는 회사입니다. 폴스타의 CEO인 토마스 잉일라트와 수석 디자이너 막시밀리안 미조니, 그리고 코닉세그의 CEO인 크리스티안 폰 코닉세그, 그리고 수석 디자이너 사샤 셀리파노프가 만났습니다. 같은 연고지라는 점을 빼면 전혀 어울릴 것 같지 않은 두 브랜드의 수장들은 과연 어떤 대화를 나누었을까요? 함께 보도록 하겠습니다.
How are you?
Hey, Chris.
Good to see you.
Nice.
This looks so fresh. It's very, very nice.
Crisp.
Crisp. That's probably the right word. It's very, very crisp. Wow, it's got
Closer.
pretty beefy haunches over the rear. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the trick about it. It's very simple in its construction, but quite dramatic in all
Anyway,
the
yeah. When
plant
you
shapes.
look from this view,
I
it's
have to
very
say, in
dramatic.
person it looks a lot more sculptural than on the photos. The photos look very graphic and striking and clean, and then in person you realize there's a lot of shape going on.
This is quite interesting. We're here in Sweden, and we were both aiming to go to the Geneva Motor Show with fully four-seater cars, with no B-pillars and integrated seat belts in the front seats. There's something in the water in Sweden.
Totally, no? You could probably write a long description of basically fitting both cars,
Right.
and have covered 80% of the product, and it sounds the same. But then
They, of course, appears very, very different. The flavor is completely different, but fantastic in their own rights.
that's not so bad.
Graceful. That's pretty elegant, yeah.
Well, of course, you dive in quite deep
I'll take
into
it.
it.
Yes, you're pretty
Wow.
centrally not so subtle.
Well, subtle is not your business, really, is it?
Maybe not. It's a camera up here.
Yeah, so this is the camera for the review. You don't have a rear window.
Oh, right. Yes.
Oh, that is
That's a cool trick.
Yeah, when you do 3D knitting normally, what happens is that it's hard to keep that premium feeling. But in the combination with the vinyl that's made from cork, these are recycled cork, literally bottle stoppers. It's kind of amazing. And some of the details in aluminium, the combination of it makes it really, really high end. It looks very luxurious, but in a modern way.
It's amazing how, let's say, different the industry allows cars to be these days. There is no one trend that dominates everything. You can have very organic and soft sculptured cars. You can have very crisp and precise geometries on the car. I think previous decades were more form language defining. Right now, almost seems like you can make a cool car with any form language.
Is that now a sign of, liberation? Or is it a sign of we got lost and we don't know?
I hope when people look at our car, they don't feel lost. And when I look at this, it doesn't look like you were lost either. It looks amazing.
The whole thing about brand is to liberate from following a trend, but really find your own corner and define your own style, and make that the image of. And that's where it becomes so difficult when you discuss, we should clinic stuff, because the second you start clinicking things, and you just run for the average and the average taste and opinion.
Exactly. So I've always designed the cars I want myself. I'm a bit egoistic that way. And then I hope someone else likes it. And
It's a good idea.
so far I found a few people who wanted them. So would you call this something like new edge, or it's a little bit edgy, I guess? Or?
Well, for us it's Scandinavian minimalism.
Right.
We clearly go out and promote that as much as we build global cars, but we have a very clear Scandinavian design link. And I mean, you mentioned when we talked about the Poster One, the P1800, and to me that type of, okay, you do of course a design which is globally understandable, but it has this slightly understated, slightly modest way of making really subtle, great design. I think that's very much.
The P1800 has really survived extremely well.
Yeah.
It's just an iconic looking car today. I mean, it's great.
I also like the word that Thomas just used when he said modest. I think there's something there that is very powerful, that there's no need to scream, you know what I mean? That there's also, like, what I'm always trying to do is find an appropriate aesthetics for the product, you know, it really has to fit. Like, the car is not what's on the outside, but what's on the inside. The outside is just there to communicate, you know, be the first thing that people meet. But I think the Scandinavian roots, totally different in terms of form language, but something about the modesty is like hitting home for me, that it's not trying too hard.
Yeah, I think when many people see this car, they think, oh, it's pretty aggressive and a powerful stance and so on, but it's more in its proportions than its actual design language. If you look at the lamps, if they're eyes, they're actually quite I should say sensual, almost, not more than aggressive. But
no, it doesn't try to be wild
or
in
angry
things,
for angry's sake. It's more the stance that gives the character than
the proportions.
Yeah.
But of course, it's so rich in technology and amazing features. I mean, that's basically why Sasha was a perfect fit as well for Koenigsegg, because that is how you do design. You really look at what is under the skin and bring that alive.
Good to see what's in store for you guys. What are your next steps?
Well, unload the boats and
a
bring
good
the
one.
poster 2 to the people.
That's the next step, yeah.
That's the next step. No, that's of course poster spaces opening, one here in Gothenburg, one in Stockholm, and in all the major cities in the world. And that would be for us, I mean, such a major job to, you know, become that operational. That our next product is ready designed in a way.
Okay.
Is clear. It's just that, of course, just like you, I mean, we have as well still then 2 years ahead till that one will hit
Sure.
the road.
And how do you like the transition from being like head of design for a large car company and now running your own? Is that, I guess it's quite a different scope of challenges. And is it what you expected it to be, or?
Much better.
No, I have to say that the principle of what you do, that you basically try to drive things and steer them in the right direction, is the same.
Right.
The only thing that I really miss is being in a design studio and having that visual break of just simply being there.
But I guess you
Peaceful
still get
path.
involved. You can't avoid of getting involved in that area.
Exactly.
More than a normal CEO would be, I guess. It's in
With
your
the
DNA.
design, more than Max likes it, yes.
Nice way to put it. Maybe Max should answer this question.
It's great because we don't have much. We don't need to communicate much to understand each other, and that's, I think, a difference. I mean, I have not worked directly for another CEO that was not a designer, so but I see what happens, and what happens is that there's a lot of misunderstanding, or you need to really convince. You need to convince as well a lot people to do what you think is right, and you know, we have a sort of understanding from the past, so that makes my life easier in a way. But then, of course, we have our discussions, because you know, even in our world, the tastes are not always 100% aligned.
To see then for somebody who has a background in financing.
Right.
So that's where
Exactly, that's true. I think from our way of doing things, it's always from the point of, I would say, excitement and efficiency of some sort. Efficiency of, power to weight ratio, aerodynamics, but these things mean nothing if there is no excitement. So always combining those elements. Profit is not even a considered factor. If we do a good job, someone wants it, we can hopefully charge enough to be allowed to make the next one. But it's never a driving force, I think. I've been actually sometimes, questioning myself, why do I spend so much time and energy to build these insane objects for the rich few? And I come to the realization that it started when I was a kid, when I saw these cars myself. I couldn't afford them or anything, and they drive on the road. Wow, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I want to be somehow part of it. I want to do that. I wanted to be with that entity, completely irrationally, of course, but it just drew me in. and drew me in. And now I realize that the reason why we're doing this is not to supply a few people with extreme cars. It's to show the world that you can fulfill your dreams. And we keep on getting emails and messages on a weekly basis saying, for example, like this: I'm not even interested in cars, but I saw what you did and you had no chance and you did it anyway because you believed in your dream. So I went out and did this and I succeeded. And I just want to thank you for letting me believe in my dreams. So I think that is the multiplying factor of what we're doing. That is much bigger than the few cars we produce, that we allow people to realize you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And that is maybe something that actually can help the society as a whole much more than that these objects might stay in time for a long period of time and be worshipped in themselves. So yeah, that's how I motivate myself.
I think that was a cool final word, Christian. Awesome. Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks,
Shall
guys.
we wrap it up? And
Absolutely. Time to head home, hit the highway, or maybe
Well.
some fun roads on the way.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Better than highways.
Maybe I get to drive a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
was that a deal?
It's a deal.
There's no deal.
Right.
I think it's really cool to show the world what happens in Sweden, right?
I'm taking one photo from here. You guys smile? Yeah, that's a good one.